Hi, I'm Samantha Green, and my sister never missed a chance to humiliate me in public. She thought my clothes, my choices, even my life were beneath her. But the day she whispered about my cheap outfit was the day she learned who really owned the brand she worshipped. Before we dive into this, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and tell me in the comments where are you watching from. It was a Sunday brunch, another mandatory family gathering. I had picked out a simple, elegant dress. It wasn't flashy or covered in logos. It didn't scream for attention. It was a deep navy blue, beautifully cut, and made me feel put together. I thought it looked nice. I felt comfortable in it, which was a rare feeling at these events. We were all sitting around a big polished oak table in a restaurant that was a little too loud, with lighting that was a little too dim. It was the kind of place my parents chose to show that they were doing well, a place Olivia loved because she could be seen. My sister, Olivia, was holding court from across the table. Her voice, as always, carried. She was telling a story about her recent trip to Milan, her hands gesturing dramatically, flashing the new diamond bracelet our parents had bought her for her birthday. I was just a quiet fixture, a part of the scenery. I had learned long ago that my role was to listen, to nod, and to not draw any attention to myself. Then, her story finished, and a lull fell over the table. Her eyes scanned the group, and, like magnets drawn to their opposite, they found me. She looked me up and down. That look was so familiar, a slow, dismissive appraisal that I had felt since we were children. It was the look that said, "You're trying, and it's a little sad." She gave a small, almost imperceptible shake of her head. Then she leaned in towards our cousin, Sarah, who was sitting next to her. Her voice was low, a stage whisper, but not too low. It was perfectly calculated, just loud enough to be an intimate comment. That was also a public announcement. She had that smirk on her face, a small, cruel smile that never reached her eyes. "Couldn't you afford better?" she whispered, her gaze flicking back to my navy dress. My stomach dropped. I felt a hot, prickling flush creep up my neck and spread across my cheeks. I knew I was blushing, and I hated myself for it. I saw a few heads turn. My aunt shifted uncomfortably. My uncle cleared his throat. A small wave of laughter, soft at first, rolled across the table from Olivia's side. They weren't laughing at me, openly, but I knew. They all knew what she meant. They were laughing with her at my expense. It was the family sport. I forced a smile onto my face. My jaw ached from the effort of holding it. I gave a tiny, helpless shrug as if to say, "Oh, you know me, always on a budget." I played my part. I nodded, like her comment was funny. Like, it was just a silly joke between sisters. But it wasn't. It never was. Growing up, Olivia was always the star, the sun around which our family revolved, the favorite. Our parents always had money for her. Designer bags for good grades, fancy vacations for graduating, a new convertible for her 21st birthday. It was just handed to her. She never had to ask twice. She was the beautiful one, the charming one, the one they were proud of. I was different. I was the quiet one, the studious one, the one who worked. I paid my way through everything. I remember the exhaustion so clearly, waiting tables to get through college, coming home late with my feet aching and the smell of fried food clinging to my clothes. I'd stay up even later, fueled by cheap coffee, to finish my assignments or take on freelance writing jobs for a few extra dollars. I saved every dollar. I learned the value of a penny, the satisfaction of earning something for myself. She learned the value of a brand name. Every family gathering felt like a performance. Olivia's performance. She would parade around in her new clothes, gifts from our parents or her latest boyfriend. She would flash her latest expensive gadget, and she would always find a way to make me feel small, to remind everyone of the gap between us. I remember one Christmas, I had saved up for months to buy my mother a beautiful, simple cashmere scarf. I was so proud of it. When Mom opened it, she smiled and thanked me. Then Olivia handed her a box from a famous jewelry store. Inside was a pair of diamond earrings. "Now that's a real gift," Olivia had said, winking at me. My scarf was forgotten. She sneered at my boring life. My choices were never good enough. "Are you still living in that tiny apartment, Samantha?" She'd ask in front of everyone. "Don't you want to live somewhere nice?" Or, "Are you still doing our freelance thing? Don't you want a real job with a real title?" Our parents didn't stop her. They usually just chuckled. "Oh, Olivia, you're so direct," my father would say with a proud smile. They never saw the pain in my eyes, the way her words chipped away at me. Or maybe they just chose not to. It was easier to keep the family star shining brightly, even if it meant my own small light was extinguished. That day at brunch, it got worse. Olivia had a new handbag. It was from a very famous fashion house, an iconic one, she called it. She didn't just carry it, she presented it. She placed it carefully on the empty chair beside her, making sure the gold logo was facing out. She kept patting it, stroking the leather as if it were a prized pet. "This is what real success looks like," she announced to the whole table, raising her mimosa. Her voice was loud and clear. She looked around, making sure everyone heard her. And then her eyes found mine. They lingered for a second. A triumphant flash that twisted my insides into a knot. My parents nodded in unison. My father beamed. "That's our girl," he said. "She knows quality." My mother chimed in. "You deserve it, honey. You work so hard at looking. So wonderful." My aunts and uncles murmured their agreement. "So true, Olivia. You've done so well." I just sat there. I gripped my coffee cup with both hands. It was warm, but my own hands felt icy cold. I took a slow sip, the bitter liquid doing nothing to wash away the taste of humiliation in my mouth. I didn't say anything. I never did. What was the point? Arguing would just make me look bitter and jealous. That's what they always said. "Don't be so sensitive, Samantha. She's just teasing." So I was silent. I was invisible. Just a quiet shadow in Olivia's bright, shiny, expensive world. I left the brunch quietly. I made my excuses, said my polite goodbyes. No one really noticed. No one asked why I was leaving early, just like always. But as I walked out of the noisy restaurant and into the cool afternoon air, my hands started to shake. They shook so hard that I fumbled with my car keys, dropping them on the pavement. The metallic clatter sounded unnaturally loud in the quiet parking garage. The anger built inside me as I bent to pick them up. It had been building for years, a slow, steady burn in the pit of my stomach. But this time, it was different. It wasn't just a dull ache. It felt sharper, hotter. It felt like a blade. All those years, all those snide comments, all those public humiliations. I had taken them. I had swallowed them. I had smiled and pretended they didn't hurt. But this time, I couldn't. I felt like if I swallowed one more insult, I would choke on it. I got into my car and slammed the door. The sound echoed in the concrete garage. I put my hands on the steering wheel, but they were still trembling. I looked at myself in the rearview mirror. My face was pale. My eyes looked tired, defeated. But as I stared, I saw something else flicker to life behind the sadness. A spark. A glint of steel. I leaned my head back against the seat, the leather cool against my hot skin. I took a deep, shuddering breath, and I whispered to the empty car, the words tasting like freedom on my tongue. "She thinks she knows me. She has no idea." The words were quiet, but they felt powerful. They felt like a promise, a vow to myself. This was the last time. The very last time I would let her make me feel this way. What Olivia and the rest of my family never knew was this. My life wasn't boring. It wasn't small. It was just private. After college, I had worked my way into corporate law. It was demanding. It was hard. Long hours, high pressure, immense stress. But I learned. I learned how massive businesses worked from the inside out, how money moved through global systems, how to read the fine print in a 100-page contract, how to spot an opportunity where no one else was looking. Then I moved into business strategy. That's where I found my true calling. I saw the bigger picture. I saw how different companies fit together like puzzle pieces, how one acquisition could change an entire industry. Years earlier, I had made a big move, a very big move. Using my own money, the money I had painstakingly earned and saved, I had quietly started acquiring shares. Small amounts at first, then more. I put all my savings into it, all the money. From my freelance work, my law school salary, every penny I earned, I bought into a luxury fashion conglomerate, a huge, publicly traded company that was undervalued at the time, a company that owned many different brands, the kind of brands Olivia worshipped, the kind she spent all our parents' money on, the kind she thought defined a person's success and worth. And over time, slowly, silently, I acquired a controlling stake. I wasn't just a shareholder. I owned it. I owned the company, the very one that owned the exclusive brand Olivia idolized, the brand of her precious handbag. I worked in the shadows. My name was on the legal documents, but I used strategists and brokers as my public face. I didn't want anyone to know, not yet. I lived simply, on purpose. My apartment was nice but not flashy. My clothes were good quality but not designer. I drove a reliable car, not a luxury one. It was a conscious choice. I invested every profit back into expanding my shareholdings, into R&D for the brands, into acquiring new talent. I focused on growing the company, on making it stronger, making it the best in its class. I let Olivia and my parents believe I was barely getting by. I let them think I was struggling. I let them see me as that quiet, invisible girl who couldn't afford nice things because their blindness was my shield. It allowed me to work without interference. To them, I was still invisible. Just Samantha, the one who always wore practical clothes, the one who just sipped her coffee and didn't make a fuss. But in the boardrooms of New York, London, and Paris, I was a rising force. I made multi-million-dollar decisions. I led teams of brilliant people. I closed deals that made headlines in the financial papers. In that world, I was respected. My name carried weight. It was a strange, disorienting double life. Sometimes, I wondered if I should just tell them, but then I would remember the whispers, the smirks, the years of feeling less than, and I held my silence. My silence was my power. Weeks passed, then a few more. An invitation arrived in a thick, cream-colored envelope. It was for the annual Evergreen Charity Gala, a huge event. The city's elite would be there. Important people, powerful people. I had been asked to be a guest of honor and to give a short speech. I picked out a simple black dress for the occasion. Again, elegant and understated, but this one was couture, a piece from one of my own brands that hadn't even been released. Yet, to anyone else, it was just a beautiful black dress. To me, it was armor. Olivia, of course, was also there. She somehow always managed to get an invitation to these things. She spotted me across the crowded ballroom and made a beeline for me, a predator homing in on her prey. She was wearing a truly spectacular gown, shimmering with sequins, and carrying that famous handbag. "Oh, Samantha," she said, her voice dripping with faux surprise. "You actually came. I thought you'd be too busy with your little projects." She paused, her eyes scanning my simple dress with pity. "I mean, it's nice you made an effort. Even if your dress is a bit plain for an event like this." She patted her own perfectly coiffed hair. She adjusted her expensive diamond necklace. She made sure everyone within earshot heard her. She loved this. She loved reinforcing the narrative. I just smiled. A real smile this time. A calm, knowing smile. I didn't say anything. I just waited. I was an invited guest of honor. She was just a guest. Olivia didn't know that. Not yet. The gala was in full swing. The room was buzzing with chatter and the clinking of champagne flutes. Then, the host stepped onto the stage. The lights dimmed. Everyone quieted down. "Ladies and gentlemen," the host began, his voice booming through the speakers. "Tonight, we are honored to have some truly remarkable individuals here." He spoke about a few people, and then he paused for dramatic effect. "And now," he said, his voice rising with excitement, "I would like to introduce a woman who has revolutionized the luxury fashion world, a visionary leader who, in a surprisingly short time, has taken the industry by storm. She is the quiet force, the brilliant mind behind some of the world's most coveted brands. Please welcome to the stage the majority shareholder of Greenlux Holdings, parent company of My heart pounded against my ribs. This was it. The moment of truth. Parent company of Eclat Couture, Belladonna Design, and Vogue Essence. He listed the names, the very brands Olivia worshipped, the brands she constantly wore, the brands she thought were the pinnacle of success. A collective gasp rippled through the room. Whispers broke out like wildfire. People looked around, trying to figure out who this mystery woman was. Olivia's smirk. I watched it happen in slow motion. It didn't just fall. It shattered. Her jaw went slack. Her perfectly made-up eyes widened in confusion, then dawning horror. She slowly looked down at her exclusive handbag, the one from Eclat Couture, the one she had flaunted as a symbol of her superiority. It suddenly looked cheap in her hands, a hollow prop. She gripped it so tightly her knuckles turned white. The host called my name again. "Please welcome Ms. Samantha Green." I walked towards the stage. My steps were steady. My head was high. I didn't look at Olivia, but I could feel her eyes on me. I could feel the shock, the disbelief, the utter humiliation radiating from her. The entire room was turning to look from me to her and back again. The dots were connecting in 100 minds at once. I stood on the stage. The lights were bright, but they didn't bother me. The applause was loud. I looked out at the faces in the crowd. All these powerful, successful people. And my family, somewhere among them, reeling. I still didn't look at Olivia directly. I didn't need to gloat. That was her style, not mine. My revenge wasn't about tearing her down. It was about building myself up. I began my speech. My voice was calm and clear. "Good evening, everyone. I'm truly honored to be here tonight." I talked about the journey of building a company, about the hard work, the vision, the team, and then I spoke about something else. True value, I said, my voice strong and unwavering, is not found in price tags. It's not found in expensive labels or outward displays of wealth. True value is found in integrity, in kindness, in the quiet strength of character that allows you to build something meaningful, something that lasts. Every word was for her. Every sentence was a subtle, sharp cut, deeper than any direct insult she had ever thrown at me, deeper than any public humiliation she had inflicted. I saw her out of the corner of my eye. Her face was ashen. She was trembling. Her perfect designer-clad posture had collapsed. She looked small, defeated, forgotten. I finished my speech. The applause was even louder this time. I felt a sense of peace settle over me, a peace I hadn't felt in years. I left the stage with my head held high. I shook hands. I exchanged pleasantries. With people who now saw me for who I really was, I felt lighter. The weight of years of silent hurt had finally lifted. Olivia was nowhere to be seen. She had slipped away, just like I used to. I reflected on the night as I drove home. She mocked me for years. She thought she was better than me. She thought my life was pathetic. She never really saw me. She only saw what she wanted to see, a convenient backdrop for her own. But when the truth finally came out, her laughter turned to silence. And my silence, the silence I had carried for so long, had finally turned to strength. It was a strength she couldn't buy, and a power she could never take away. I was no longer the victim. I was Samantha Green, and I was finally, completely free.